So we're going to be talking about buying businesses. And this is going to be a little deviation from what you've seen us talk about in the past, traditionally buy and hold and value add real estate. But where the alignment comes is value adding businesses. In this case, it's going to be within the virtual world of buying websites. Now, when you're buying websites, there are three different models to follow. The first is a content website, which is essentially what thewealthelevator.com is like my website, right? I write a lot of blogs, articles, podcasts, YouTube videos. It's a repository of information and it attracts attention, and that attention and viewers like you guys, we can use that to monetize in different products. Or what we do is we have our investor club that you guys can join by going to thewealthelevator.com/club. The second type of online business is e-commerce. You guys know this is Amazon, basically buying other products cheaper, usually overseas, and then selling it and redistributing it while packaging it up and marketing. The third main business out there are known as SaaS businesses. Think of them as subscription-based businesses. One of these subscriptions that you might use yourself would be like Grammarly. I don't know how much it is today, 10, $20 a month. A lot of the Microsoft products have switched to this subscription model. But what I wanted to focus on today was under the content world. Again, thewealthelevator.com is a type of content type of business. Out there are what is called aggregators or professional operators that will buy up different content websites. So if I got tired of doing this podcast, blog articles, and website, and we have a certain amount of viewership and revenue, I could sell my company, the brand, to somebody else. Anywhere from 1x revenue to maybe 5x revenue. Big range, right? There are folks out there that are looking to add value to these types of websites. And the way they will do this is improve the type of search engine optimization, SEO. They will write better articles. They may do other business development, relationship with podcasts, YouTube, and other blog article providers. There's a whole bunch of things that they can do out there. And maybe even add product lines, right? Add a little bit of the e-commerce flavor onto it, or maybe even add some of the SaaS businesses, maybe some kind of subscription service on top of it to add to the revenue stream. No different than when we buy an apartment, we'll go in and change the flooring, the appliances, put new playground equipment out there. Those are more physical, more visual types of value adds in the content website. Now that you're aware of it, now you see why there's so many people that not are only doing this for the love of it, which is why I do it, but they're also doing it for monetary reasons. So this is known as a roll-up game where you're combining different websites together. The idea is the sum of the parts creates a larger valuation. Maybe some of the websites provide different product services mixes. Maybe they have alignment of the different types of avatars or viewers that will come to a certain website. Even if all the different website brands are just totally unrelated, just by combining them in one portfolio creates a better opportunity to have this be bought by a more institutional operator out there or private equity firm. Just like how when we buy multifamily apartments, a lot of the bigger institutions don't want to buy properties or sets portfolios of properties under 1,000 units or even 10,000 units. When we're buying a 50 unit or 250 unit, we may package them up into sets of twos or threes or then 10 apartments in one to get to that higher level. But when you package them up in bigger quantities, you typically get better equity multiple. Going into the business of content websites, where the rubber meets the road is usually in written form. Obviously, you guys have all heard with Google, Bard, OpenAI, ChatGPT, people are able to unleash artificial intelligence to create pretty good content out there. Of course, it hasn't yet reached a point where it's completely replaced the person, which is why when you guys come to this podcast and YouTube channel, what I try and do is interject my experiences from owning a portfolio of $2.1 billion. A lot of stuff has happened in there, and I try to equate things for a lot of you investors out there who are more value-oriented, hard asset real estate investors. As I start to look into more of these untraditional types of investing methods, such as venture capital, buying websites, other private equity investments. AI has been a huge game changer for a lot of operators traditionally buying content websites. Before, it was a bit of an art form for writing SEO generated articles that hit all the marks that made Google really happy to rank your page up high. I know some people, not in the real estate space, but they would teach people how to pass different medical exams or be a nurse. The way they would find clients is they would write amazing articles. And part of the claim to fame for them is they were on that top page of Google, which if you're on the top page of Google, it's almost like winner take all once you're up there. This is the way that they were generating great leads for their business, in this case, info products. Not only has Google's algorithm changed, more people are able to create similar content to compete with these top placements within the Google rankings. People are changing the way they search. Before, you would go to Google and you type in your question, and Google made a lot of money. But now, a lot of times, I'll find myself at least a third of the time, sometimes even half of my searches. I take a little bit more time and I write the question out, and I have ChatGPT synthesize the answer for me. And then, of course, I ask additional prompts to get even more better answers for me or follow up questions. So, this change is taking viewers' eyes away from these websites that wrote those amazing articles. So this is a big game changer. Google is putting so much money to prevent this mainstay from happening. So you're starting to see a lot of these people who would buy these types of websites, these content operators, to switch. It's hard for things to be disrupted in the real estate space, especially things as such as primal as a place to live. Now, maybe apartments may go down from 1,100 square feet down to micro units one day. It's probably going to happen, right? I think we follow the trends of Europe and Asia where you're living in more clamped quarters, especially as the dynamics of the middle class move to the lower middle class. Living conditions will just get a little bit more weaker there. But we got a lot of content on that over on the website and the podcast if you guys want to check out there. I don't want to beat a dead horse on that one. What you're seeing is a textbook disruption in the industry if you are a good writer and great at revamping websites. And you're seeing a lot of these great operators move to what's called buying agencies. Now, what you're starting to see here, what is a digital agency? So a digital agency is a professional service provider that will offer marketing services or PR services to a brand. Now, these people who used to be content website generating people would write different articles. You're using the written word. But now, since that world has been totally displaced, a lot of the people are moving and taking that skill set of writing articles and spinning stories, writing narratives into the next best thing, which is buying up marketing agencies and adding their value there. Like I had a buddy in the e-commerce space. What he would do is he would have these filters that you would apply to Adobe photo editor. And these filters are virtual products, right, that you can digitize, and he was selling these things. But with AI coming in, and now with the click of the button, you can say, remove that person in the photograph, make this lighter, make this more social media friendly. A lot of the needs for those filters have gone away. A lot of those people who would generate party flyers or different graphic artists, a lot of those skills are going to be displaced by AI and somebody who is a good prompt engineer to get exactly what they need out of it. AI taking the mediocre to poor performers out of the industry, and the good ones are going to rise to the occasion, which another case is like computer programmers. At one time, being a computer programmer was the thing to be, and maybe it is still, but AI is coming specifically the lower performers. It's the people who are good at coding and can also introduce human imagination and creativity are the ones that are going to be essentially a winner take all. They're going to get paid more. And unfortunately, the majority of the people will just be displaced. So this bringing it back to content websites, a lot of these people are being displaced to buying up marketing agencies. So just wanted to show this as an example to our investors because I talk about it a lot. It's a great thing until it gets displaced, right? Maybe you were that Airbnb landlord who had your 8-unit in Hawaii. It was illegal, but it worked for one time, and then the police caught on and you were shut down, right? That's a displacement. Of course, that's a little bit different because you were operating illegally, But you always look at your businesses or your investments and ask, in the worst case scenario, how am I displaced? Another example, because a lot of you guys are real estate investors, and now we're starting to invest in industrial warehouse. The fear on that is, at what point is Amazon going to change something in their supply chain? So now you don't need to store all these products. Maybe it goes straight from the boat from China out to you on those hovercrafts or those drones. And you don't need these millions and millions of square feet anymore. Of course, that's a huge displacement, and maybe that just drops the price per square foot that you get on industrial leases by 10 cents or 25 cents on a couple dollars. But it's just an example of how things change. Like the world changes and we live in a dynamic world. And this is why it's important to diversify. Even out of simple things like single family home rentals or apartment complexes, anything and everything can be disrupted. From an investor's point of view, if you're somebody who is always catastrophizing things, thinking the worst that can happen, you may want to restrain yourself from thinking this way. But from a more astute investor point of view who takes everything with a grain of salt, take this as an opportunity to think of what your portfolio looks like and thinking how it can be displaced. Another example would be cryptocurrencies, right? The governments don't really like this type of stuff because it takes away from the monetary policies of the nations. And behind the scenes, they're trying to shut this stuff down. I don't want to be conspiracy theorists here, but that's just another idea. If you guys have any other ideas, type it into the comment section below. We can get a conversation started. Hopefully, you guys can take this as a little bit of ways of looking at things from a different angle, because essentially, that's what investing is all about. You're never going to be right all the time, but diversification into different asset classes. And part of this is maybe even venturing outside of real estate. Personally, I would say most of my holdings are in residential real estate apartments. Maybe 10% of my holdings are in life insurance, where we'll buy whole life overfunded policies and overfund it. Strategy that the wealthy will use. We have a free e-course for that if you guys are interested. You can go to thewealthelevator.com/club. You never know. We're starting to look at different types of investments out there. But if you got value out of today's video, do me a favor, put a like there and share this with your friends. Bye.